Welcome back. We have a big update for you from Iran. It was only 3 weeks ago that US and Iran agreed to a 60-day deal. For a moment, the world believed that the war was over and all is well, but that deal did not last. Donald Trump has now made it quite clear that the ceasefire is over, that he has no interest in talking to Iran ever again. On that, we have a big breaking update coming in from West Asia. Just a while back, we're learning that the United States has started another round of attacks on Iran. The US Central Command has said that strikes were ordered by President Donald Trump. According to CENTCOM, the aim is to reduce Iran's ability to threaten ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. And the big question at this point in time is, why is this happening once again? Well, US has said that Iran violated the deal, adding that the deal was simple. US would lift the naval blockade and Iran would stop firing on the ships there. But Iran only complied for about a week before it started targeting commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz once again. And we're witnessing escalation there in fact, West Asia once again. Let me get you more details and go across to Sarah Claire, foreign policy analyst. Thank you so much for connecting with us. We're back to square one where we started. There was a ceasefire in place, but 3 weeks after that, we're witnessing escalation in West Asia once again. Your take on this?
Right. Well, exactly as you described, Iran violated the ceasefire and the U.S. responded. You know, and it's not a surprise that the U.S. responded, that even Vice President Vance, who, you know, I believe was a little more of a supporter of the MOU than some of the other administration officials, he even had said that if Iran hits, you know, commercial straits, that we are going to issue a response. However, I think when we're looking at the type of response and the type of military strikes that have been going on, that's really the key indicator of where things are heading. You've seen the U.S. already hit certain infrastructure, airports. There was a bridge and I believe a railway pathway that the U.S. targeted in this latest round of strikes. These are very powerful military strikes, more so than what we've seen in the past couple weeks, as the U.S. and Iran have been trading strikes even despite there being a ceasefire. So these are a different tone of strikes, and they're much stronger. And paired with President Trump's words today, yeah, I would say that Iran ran out of time, and they ran out President Trump's patience, and so that this is not a good situation for them.
Absolutely, and we've been speaking to many experts, and they believe that the terms of a deal, they were very weak, and what is happening right now is inevitable. Stay on with us. We have another breaking update coming in from Iran. We have a big update there. As far as Iran is concerned, Iran has hit back. Reports are stating that Iran has fired missiles at U.S. military bases in the region. Video shows missiles being launched. There are also reports of a fire at U.S. 5th Fleet headquarters there in Bahrain after this attack. And these reports are still coming in, and there is no official word yet on any damage or death there. The situation at this point in time is changing very fast, and reports are now suggesting that Iran has launched missiles towards U.S. military bases in the region, and visuals are there on the screen that shows the missile launches, while the reports also indicated that a fire broke out at the U.S. 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain as well. Akanksha Swaroop, news editor, Foreign Affairs, is joining us live on the broadcast with more details. Akanksha, we're back to square one. Attacks and counter-attacks continue. Tell us what is happening at this point in time in Iran.
Absolutely. This is extremely reminiscent of what we had been witnessing ever since the war broke out in February, and we had been witnessing similar kind of scenes, and that's exactly what the world had been dreading, that the U.S. allies in West Asia, whether it is Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, none of them should get sucked into this war, and that's exactly what's unfolding now. Because remember, Iran yesterday also attacked Bahrain and Kuwait. It continues to do so, as you rightly just broke in that input coming in, that the U.S. 5th Fleet in Bahrain has been attacked. We'll have to see if this leads to a tit-for-tat warfare, because remember, the U.S. West Asian allies have been making conscious efforts to exercise restraint, because if they also get involved directly, then it is a full-blown regional war. That's an escalation which even the NATO has been trying to avoid. We speak at a time when the US president has returned from the NATO summit, which took place for 2 days in Ankara, in the Turkish capital. There, the US president, in fact, expressed his disappointment towards the NATO allies for not being able to help him much in the war in Iran. And even though the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte did remind the US president with regards to all the help that had been rendered by his NATO allies, it doesn't seem to have really helped in sort of helping the US take a step back. Yes, I do agree with our guest that Iran has violated this MOU this time around by attacking the cargo vessels, something that had been explicitly mentioned in the Memorandum of Understanding. But this is also Iran exercising its autonomy, and it wants controlled authority and continuous authority over the Strait of Hormuz. For how long will the maritime community be able to do so? Now that Iran has actually been violating the MOU, who will bring them back to the talking table? Is it going to be Pakistan, as it has been playing that role? Qatar has also been a positive mediator, but they are also extremely livid with the Iranians. In fact, the Qataris have also summoned the deputy envoy, is what we are being told, of Iran, the deputy Iranian envoy. And there's a lot of anger in the region because, remember, all of these West Asian allies, whether it is Bahrain, Kuwait and Qatar, continue to bear the brunt of this. India has its own set of concerns with regards to our energy vessels that are currently transiting the Strait of Hormuz. As we speak, External Affairs Minister is on that West Asian tour. And in fact, on the very day that Iran hit out at Kuwait, the External Affairs Minister had a meeting with not just the Prime Minister, but also the Defense Minister and the Foreign Minister of Kuwait.
Absolutely. So it remains to be seen how this pans out in the coming hours. In the latest, Donald Trump has said that Iran called a while ago and they want to make a deal so badly. I just do not know that if they're worthy. I do not know if they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem, and that is what Donald Trump has said. Stay on with us, Akanksha. I'll come back to you once again. US President Donald Trump has claimed that he is Iran's #1 target. Listen in to what he said.
We hit back much harder.
Are we returning to full-scale military conflict, sir?
I don't know. I don't know. But win it very quickly. It's another way of doing it. We have many ways we can win, but we've already won militarily. They have very little. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
If they want to make a deal, why do you think they attacked commercial vessels?
Because they're sort of crazy, to be honest with you. They're sort of crazy. They're a little bit out of control, but they want to make a deal. Badly. We just hit them very hard, and I'd say we hit them 20-1. Every time they hit us, we're going to hit them 20. And we did it last night. They did a little something today, but it was really retribution for last night. They hit actually 3 boats, not 2. And when they hit, we hit back much harder.
Are we returning to full-scale military conflict, sir?
I don't know. I don't know. But win it very quickly. It's another way of doing it. We have many ways we can win, but we've already won militarily. They have very little. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
If they want to make a deal, why do you think they attacked commercial vessels?
Because they're sort of crazy, to be honest with you. They're sort of crazy. They're a little bit out of control, but they want to make a deal. Badly.
And we have more details coming in. US airstrikes against Iran overnight on Tuesday, that is July 7th, into Wednesday, July 8th, targeted Iran's military infra, mainly along the country's southern coastline and the Strait of Hormuz. So let me tell you more with the help of the map that you can see on the screen, the areas that have been attacked by the United States. Bandar Abbas, a major port city housing key naval bases, that has been attacked. Keshem Island, not the first time that this island has come under target, a highly fortified island in the Strait of Hormuz used for surveillance and drone operation. Sirik County, a coastal area critical for missile positioning, and Mashahar, that's a coastal base and installation along the Persian Gulf. So in the last few hours, these areas have been attacked by the United States. With that, we have another breaking update coming in as far as the attack by the United States is concerned. In the latest, we are learning that US has struck a key port facility in Iran. Visuals now emerging on social media showing that the traffic control tower there at Chabahar port reduced to rubble. The head of the Chabahar free zone has confirmed that the traffic control tower was hit and destroyed in the strike. The port is one of Iran's key gateway on the Arabian Sea, and meanwhile there's some relief from another strike site. US has also targeted Bushehr province, but there is no report of any damage so far. And this area is also quite important because it houses Bushehr, a nuclear plant as well. Let me once again bring in Akanksha on this. Akanksha, this escalation affects not just Iran or US, but also other countries, Gulf, India as well. How concerned should India be?
Right, because this is a very critical region, especially if we talk about southern Iran. This is where most of the ports are, where the ships dock. Many of the ships actually leave to transit through the Strait of Hormuz. And today we've seen how the US has in fact expanded the attacks on southern Iran. You mentioned some of them, of course, one of them being Bushehr, but more importantly, you're looking at attacks at Bandar Abbas, at Sirik, at Jask, at Abu Musa Island, at Chabahar. Remember, Chabahar is where India has its own port interests, even though we've receded when it comes to our development plans at the Chabahar port. But more importantly, yes, there is an expansion. There's a clear-cut escalation in the US strikes on southern Iran. Keshem Island, again, equally important. The US president has at the same time also threatened that there could be a reimposition of the US naval blockade. Is that going to actually materialize? Is that going to happen? We'll have to see, because the situation has been spiraling out of control rapidly, and the US Navy now reimposing or bringing back that naval blockade could mean, in fact, a tit-for-tat action between the United States and Iran. But remember what this will mean to the global economy. Yesterday, we've already seen how the Sensex and Nifty have reacted. There's been a bloodbath at the stock markets. Investors are already losing out. This is just within a 24-hour span. So can the global economy expect to come back to a screeching halt? It's been a horrifying, nightmarish year for the stock markets. We'll have to see if there is going to be any external intervention by third parties like Pakistan and Qatar. Let's hope good sense prevails.
All right, it remains to be seen how it pans out in the coming hours. Stay on with us, Akanksha. In fact, we have another breaking update coming in. A statement that has come in from Iran's Parliament Speaker, Mohammad Ghalibaf. He has issued a stern warning to the United States, saying that US must understand that breaking promises are no longer cost-free. In a post on social media, he has declared that any attack on Iran would be met with retaliation, and something that we have seen in the last few hours. US has attacked Iran, and Iran has hit back, attacking the naval bases there as well as the Gulf countries are concerned. So taking to social media, Iran's Parliament Speaker Mohammad Ghalibaf has said, and I quote, "America still has not learned anything, that breaking promises are no longer cost-free. Let me put it plainly. If you strike us, you will get hit. Do not flail around pointlessly, or you will sink even deeper. The Strait of Hormuz will only open with Iranian agreement," is what he has said, and not American threats. So that is the latest we are learning as far as the attack and the counter attack there is concerned. Let me also go back to Sarah on this. How do you assess the response that is coming from Iran? Because in the latest, we are learning about another statement that has been given by Iranian leader, and they've said, and I quote, "Await the hard slap from Iranian." And this is what we've just heard from the spokesperson of the Iranian Parliament Committee on Foreign Policy. How do you assess the response from Iran in the last few hours?
Well, he said that America hasn't learned the lesson yet. I would say Iran hasn't learned their lesson yet. You know, the President Trump's comments, if you go back to some of the things he said earlier today in Turkey, you know, people were asking him, oh, why did you have such a change of heart about the Iranian leadership? And I think to translate that a little bit is that, you know, President Trump has been giving the more moderate wing of the Iranian leadership a chance after chance, and they keep coming to him and telling him that they can get control of these IRGC, these hardliners, these extremists, and every time they can't. So I think that is, you know, fundamentally the issue here that President Trump is most frustrated with. And Iran is, you know, not surprisingly trying to place the blame on the United States. But really what the issue is that they've either been dishonest, where they say that they have control over these people or they don't, or they're completely aligned with those hardliners. And, you know, they never intended to honor the deal. And so either of those things have obviously led now to President Trump becoming extremely frustrated with the Iranian leadership. And, you know, we were speaking earlier about these mediators, these various mediators that could come back in. But I think the trust, you know, the trust at this point that President Trump has for the Iranian leadership is so low. I'm not sure that the mediators are really going to, you know, their options are going to be more and more limited as time goes on, because they too have lost a lot of trust and credibility.
Absolutely, and the attacks and the counterattacks are happening on the day when the funeral ceremony for former Iran Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei that took place in Iraq's holy cities of Najaf and Karbala. So that continues there as far as Iran is concerned. Thank you so much, Ciara and Akanksha, for putting that into perspective. And now the ceasefire is over. The peace deal is null and void. US and Iran are back at striking each other, and neither of the side they have expressed any of the signs of holding back. Watch this.
The war between the US and Iran officially began. US and Israeli forces joined hands to strike Iran. For 3.5 months, the war went on. Supreme Leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, dead. Business suspended on the Strait of Hormuz. Markets across the globe in red. Retaliatory strikes extending till Dubai. The world saw an unprecedented geopolitical standoff. For 5 weeks, global leaders held their breath. Some acted as peace brokers. Then, multiple mediation attempts later, a temporary peace deal agreed upon. Trump and Iranian President Pezeshkian formally signed a memorandum, a 60-day window to make the deal permanently agreed upon. But the understanding was short-lived. Cracks appeared as Qatar hosted indirect talks. US launched fresh strikes hitting around 80 targets. Claiming Tehran hit commercial oil tankers first. A grieving Tehran holding the funeral for Khamenei didn't hold back either. And that was the end of the ceasefire.
I'll probably hit him hard again tonight. I'll give him a little warning, we're going to hit him hard tonight. But we'll see how it all works out. No, I'm not happy with him.
Just like that, the hope for peace in West Asia faded. And Tehran got a fresh warning. The fate of West Asia once again hangs in the balance. Can the global powers hit a pause on war?
So the war in West Asia appears to be back in full swing. Just weeks after both the sides agreed to stop fighting, fresh attacks and counterattacks have pushed the region once again back to the edge. We'll continue to get you more updates on this with this a very short break. More news and updates on the other side.